No one noticed the human ship at first. That was the most disturbing part. An entire alien armada filled the edge of the system, thousands of vessels layered in perfect formation, weapons charged, commanders confident that this moment would be remembered as a clean, decisive conquest. Sensors scanned every direction again and again. Nothing threatened them. Nothing moved. Then a junior analyst froze. A single mass reading sat between the Armada and the planet. It had no escort, no energy surge, no approach vector. It had not arrived. It had always been there. The object was small compared to the surrounding fleets, yet every attempt to measure it failed. Range estimates contradicted each other. Hull composition returned errors. Even its location seemed uncertain, as if space itself refused to define it clearly. The ship did not respond to Hale's warnings or threats. It did not raise shields. It did not move. And yet every targeting solution failed. Weapons locked and immediately lost lock. Guidance systems looped back on themselves. Predictive fire models collapsed into nonsense. The Armada had erased stars before, but this single silent ship could not be aimed at. It was not defending itself. It was ignoring them. Then the signal began. It was faint, almost polite, slipping into communication channels without force. No language, no symbols, just a steady pulse that bypassed translators and interfaces and went straight into cognition. Captains across the Armada felt it at the same time. A pressure behind thought, a sense of being observed, not judged, simply seen. The signal showed nothing. It asked nothing. It waited. That was when fear spread. Veteran commanders who had crushed civilizations hesitated. Orders stalled. For the first time in centuries, an Armada designed for absolute domination could not decide what to do next. The human ship remained motionless, its dark hull absorbing starlight, like a shadow cut from the void. Someone finally spoke the word human. Records were checked in panic. Humanity was listed as minor, fragmented, technologically uneven, not extinct but irrelevant, and yet buried deep in old conflict. Reports was a single line, repeated across unrelated archives. If the silent ship appears, disengage. No explanation followed. No account of battle. No description of weapons. Just that warning copied and recopied by species who no longer existed. The signal intensified slightly, not louder, clearer, and suddenly every commander saw the same thing. Not on screens, but in understanding. They saw futures branching endlessly. In every path where the first shot was fired, the Armada won the battle and lost everything else. Empires collapsed supply lines. Failed allies turned away. Worlds rebelled, stars went dark. Victory poisoned itself. In paths where they withdrew, nothing followed. No pursuit. No retaliation. Just survival. The human ship was not threatening them. It was showing them the cost of ignoring it. The moment hooked you. If you want to know why a single human vessel could freeze an Armada like this, make sure you subscribe now. These are the kinds of stories where the real weapon is not firepower but knowledge, and the next chapter reveals what the ship truly was. The Armada waited. The human ship waited longer. The Armada did not retreat, not yet. Pride is slower to die than fear, and the alien command structure had been built on centuries of unquestioned dominance. Orders were delayed, not canceled. Analysts were pushed harder. New targeting algorithms were written in real time. Experimental weapons were armed. If the human ship was a trick, then it would be broken. The signal changed again. This time it unfolded like a memory that did not belong to anyone. Every bridge, every command node, every biological and synthetic mind received it simultaneously. There was no resistance. Firewalls did nothing. Psychic shields collapsed, quietly, as if they had never been designed for this kind of contact. They saw humanity, not as conquerors, not as victims, as survivors. World after world burned in the visions. Human colonies erased by forces far greater than themselves. Fleets shattered by enemies who never bothered to negotiate. Civilizations treated humanity as a brief inconvenience, and yet again and again the humans endured, not by winning wars but by learning from them. The signal showed something unsettling. Humanity had stopped trying to defeat enemies directly. They began studying decisions, patterns, psychology, probability. They learned that every empire collapses not from defeat but from choice. From the moment it believes power removes consequence. The ship in front of the Armada was not a warship in the traditional sense. It was an answer. It had no weapons because it did not need them. It was built to sit at the precise moment when violence seemed inevitable, and make that violence unbearable to choose. It did not control minds. It clarified them. It did not predict the future. It revealed the weight of it. Some commanders tried to sever the connection. They ordered communication systems shut down. Entire sections of the fleet went dark. It did not matter. The signal was not transmitted. It was present. For the first time in their history, the Armada understood that humanity had not survived by being stronger. They survived by being careful, by building something that punished aggression without firing a shot. Debate erupted across the command hierarchy. Younger officers wanted to pull back. Older ones argued that retreat would shatter the myth of invincibility. But even as they argued, projections continued to update, and every aggressive scenario ended the same way. Short-term victory followed by long-term annihilation. The human ship did not move closer. It did not escalate. It did not even acknowledge the discussion. It simply waited as if it had all the time in the universe. Then a new realization hit. This was not the only ship. It hinted at others, scattered across key points in the galaxy, silent, dormant, watching. Humanity had not placed them where wars were already raging. They placed them where wars were about to begin. The Armada faced a truth it could not ignore. Attacking this ship would not start a war with humanity. It would prove that the Armada was exactly what the ship was built to stop. If this chapter pulled you deeper, and you are starting to see why this human ship terrified entire civilizations, subscribe now, because the final chapter explains how the Armada made its choice and what happened the moment it did. The signal steadied. The waiting ended. The choice did not come with a countdown. No final warning flashed across the bridges. The human ship offered no ultimatum, because ultimatums invite defiance. Instead, there was only the quiet certainty that whatever happened next would define the Armada forever. Commanders looked at one another across light years. For the first time in their history, consensus was impossible to fake. Every mind present knew the truth, even if some refused to accept it. Firing first would not be bravery. It would be proof of predictability. And predictability was exactly what humanity had learned to dismantle. A single captain broke the silence. He ordered his weapons powered down. The act sent a ripple through the Armada. Not shock, but release. Others followed, not because they were ordered to, but because resistance suddenly felt childish. The myth of absolute dominance cracked, not under attack but under understanding. Fleets that had erased suns now hesitated before one quiet vessel. The human ship responded at last. Not with movement, not with speech. The signal shifted one final time, and for a brief moment every being present understood why humanity had built it. They saw Earth as it once was, divided, fragile, arguing constantly, and still refusing to disappear. They saw a species that learned, too late, that winning wars did not prevent the next one. So they stopped trying to win reminders instead. The ship was not there to protect the planet behind it. It was there to protect the future of those who chose to turn away. Humanity had realized something terrifyingly simple. Most civilizations do not need to be destroyed. They need to be stopped at the moment they believe destruction is the answer. The Armada withdrew. No cheers followed. No declarations of victory. Retreat was silent and disciplined. History would never record this as a defeat because no battle occurred. But every commander knew they had been changed. They would never again approach a border without wondering if another silent human ship was already waiting. As the last vessels jumped away, the human ship began to fade. Not vanish, but lose definition, as if space no longer needed to remember it. The signal softened and then disappeared entirely. In its place was choice. Somewhere far beyond the system, a human observer logged the event and closed the record. Another war prevented. Another civilization allowed to continue. No medals awarded. No monuments built. Humanity did not need recognition. The ships were enough. And that is how the largest alien armada ever assembled was stopped without a single shot. Not by superior firepower, not by secret weapons, but by a human understanding of consequence sharpened by centuries of survival. If this story held you until the end, if you felt that quiet tension that keeps you watching, then you already know why these narratives work. Subscribe to the channel for more short, powerful sci-fi stories where humanity wins not by destroying but by outthinking the universe. Because somewhere out there another fleet is gathering, And another human ship is already waiting.